Assalamu alaikum guys, if I'm back again with another video, and today we are starting a new series. This is going to be dedicated to topics in statistics, and today's video is going to be about frequency distribution. Now, what is frequency distribution? Essentially, frequency distribution is a table that displays or shows you the frequency or number of occurrences of a particular outcome in a sample. Okay, how many times a particular outcome happens or particular occurrence happens in a sample. Okay, now each entry in the table contains a frequency or the count of occurrences within a particular group or an interval or a particular value, how many times a particular value shows up in a data set. Now, why would you do that? Why would you want to put them in a table like that? Because the distribution, the frequency distribution, it summarizes the distribution of values. It makes the data more easier to understand and analyze. Okay, that's a prime reason why you would be going through this through the motion of actually making the frequency distribution. Now, essentially, it's a two-column. The frequency distribution is essentially a two-column table. Okay. Now, it lists values in a collection of data. Okay, and the number of times that those values occur in that collection. So basically, the frequency. Okay. Now, let's see a simple example. Supposing you are selling homemade cakes. You're in the business of selling, baking cakes and then selling them to in your neighborhood or at work. And you are actually tabulating your daily sales, how many cakes you sold on a daily basis. So let's see, this is what your daily sales are. So on the first day you sold 1 cake, second day 2, third day you're down to 1 again, fourth day there was no sale, fifth day you had a very good day, you actually were able to sell 3 cakes, and so on and so forth. So now what we're going to do is, if we were to put them into a tabular form, into a frequency distribution, we could one way to do that would be to have the demand, and then how many times that particular demand happened. Okay, so the number of times you have 0 sales, then you have 1 sale, 2 sales in a day, 3 sales in a day, and 4 sales. Those would be the type of demands you could have. Now let's see the frequency. And we do that is, the way we do the frequency, we count the occurrences of 0s, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, and so on and so forth. So 0 occurred 3 times. So there were 3 days on which you had no sales. So the frequency of 0 sale is 3. Now let's see what is the frequency of 1 sale in a day. 1 sale in a day was done 5 times. So there are 5 days on which you were able to sell 1 cake. And now let's see the demand for 2 cakes in a day. So you have 4 days on which you were able to sell 2 cakes in a day. Now let's look at 3 cake sales. There were 2 days on which you were able to sell 3 cakes. And 4 cakes in a day, your best day only happened once. So you can, instead of looking at 1, 2, 1, 0, 3, 0, 1, if you look at the table on the right hand, it's easy to see that your best days are when you were, when you are able to sell 1 cake in a day. Because the most sales happen 1 cake in a day, and then in terms of revenue, obviously you'll be making more money if you're able to sell 4 cakes in 1 day, but that only happened once. Okay, so this table makes the data that we have in the middle of the screen, 1, 2, 1, 0, 3, a little easier to understand, a little easier to analyze, and that's essentially the main beauty of frequency distribution. Okay, now that was one way to do the frequency distribution. The other way would be to do what is called a grouped frequency distribution. Now again, this is essentially a 2-column table like in the previous example, but in this case what we try to do is instead of 1 cell, 2 cell, 3 cell, what we're going to do is we'll be creating groups like 1 to 3 cells, 4 to 7 cells, that type of thing. So we will be creating groups, and then we will find out how many times the data that we have collected fall in each group, and we count the occurrences of the data in each group. So we'll list the group of values and the number of times values occur in each group. For example, length and frequency. If you have measured length of different items and you count how many times that happened. From 0 to 3 is 5 times happened. The occurrence was 5 times. From 4 to 7, 8 times. From 8 to 11 was 6. So you see, as opposed to the previous example, here what you're doing is you are looking at groups from 0 to 3. So just 1, 2, 3, as in the previous example of cake sales. Here you are doing groups from 4 to 7, 8 to 11. Okay, so this makes it even further easier, because then you're making slabs of data and analyzing it accordingly. Now, how do you go about creating a group frequency distribution table? Now, the first step is look at what is known as the range. Now, the range is the maximum value minus the minimum value. Okay, that gives you the range. That's step 1. Step 2, finding the approximate number of classes. Okay, number of classes is the formula for that would be 1 plus 3.3 into log of n, where n is number of values that you have in your sample. And the third step is the width of the class. So in how we showed you, from 4 to 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the width is 4. So that's how you get the way you calculate that is h is equal to range divided by number of classes. So one point keep in mind and remember is, when you're looking at the approximate number of classes and the width of the classes, you're always rounding it up. Okay, not round off, but rounding it up. Now let's see an example of creating a grouped frequency distribution table. Now the data that you have is 53, 35, 67, 48, 63, and so on and so forth. And this data could be representing anything at all. Now what we're going to be doing is, instead of looking at this data the way it is, we will be tabulating that into a grouped frequency distribution table. Now, the 3 steps that we first talked about, let's go through them. Step number 1, find the range. That's maximum minus the minimum. The maximum number that occurs in this data is 67. The minimum is 33. So your range 67 minus 33 is 34. So you have 34 is what the range is going to be. Step number 2, find the approximate number of classes. Now the formula that we had is 1 plus 3.3 into log of n, where n is number of entries that you have, number of observations. In our case, the number of observations are 18. So number of classes will be 1 plus 3.3 into log of 18, which gives you, if you round it up, gives you 6. And the step number 3 is finding the width, is range divided by number of classes. Range was 34, number of classes is 6. So it's going to be 34 divided by 6, rounding it up gives you 6. So now we've got the range, we've got the number of classes, we've got the width. Now what we'll do is, and we got the minimum and the maximum. Now what we'll do is we'll try and put them, take this data and tabulate the grouped frequency distribution. So we know the minimum is 33, maximum is 67, and the width is 6. Okay. So now we've got the lower limit, the upper limit, and the frequency. The lower limit and the upper limit gives you the group. Now the lower limit is going to be, starting off, is going to be a minimum value that you have, and in this case is 33. Excuse me. Now the upper limit is going to be 6 values from the minimum. So it's 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38. So if you've got those, your 6 values, that was your width. Okay. So the first entry is the first group is going to be from 33 to 38. Now similarly, the next group is going to start from 39 and go to 44. Next group is going to be from 45 to 50, and then from 51 to 56, 57 to 62, 63 to 68. Okay, so you've got your groups. Okay, now let's look at the frequency. How we do the frequency? Essentially, you will count the number of values that occur within each group. So 33 is 1, 2, so between the values between 33 and 38 is 2. Now the next group is from 39 to 44. You've got 2 again. Now from 45 to 50, you've got 6 values showing up. From 51 to 56, you've got 4 entries. From 57 to 62, the number of entries is 1, just the 1. And from 63 to 68, you've got 3. So that's essentially how you would create a grouped frequency distribution table. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please kindly give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and please support the channel by subscribing. Thank you.